Hello and welcome back to my continuing conversation with Carey Conley, which we call My Anchor in All the Storms. I'm Maria Tomás-Keegan, and this is From Upside Down to Right Side Up, Tips for the Transition. It is my pleasure to share inspiring stories like Carey's. These women have figured out how to move through life's inevitable trials and tribulations and come out on top in triumph. They help us to know we are not alone when our own world turns upside down. In our first segment, Carey shared how she created her first vision and how that helped her create a thriving business to help support her family. And her vision was so powerful that it became her anchor even when she lost her husband and son. She came through those events with a perspective that I think you're going to want to hear. Hello, Carey.
Hello.
Thanks so much for being so vulnerable and transparent with us. I would love for you to share that perspective with us.
On purpose, right? Getting
And
through
vision,
everything.
yeah.
Yes. So we talked a little bit about, what I'm starting to see and why I continue to do what I do. Even after all these losses. As a matter of fact, I've been telling people recently, Maria, because I've been doing this vision thing, for a long time. And I've been doing it on a level, for the most part, with people of all ages, all shapes and sizes, all backgrounds, to help them through getting through the everyday life stuff. And a lot of them building businesses like you and I. But now my purpose has been 10x'd, so to speak. Because now my purpose, now that I understand how epidemic it is right now, that people don't have a vision. So what I believe is when I get people to write their vision on paper, Maria, what I help them discover is what their purpose is in life. I truly believe that each and every one of us have been sent to this universe with a purpose that only each one of us can carry out. It's a uniqueness I have for what I do. It's a uniqueness you were sent with. It doesn't matter if you're in an industry with 3,000 other people doing it. You have a unique set of resources to carry out your mission. The problem is that most people have no idea what it is. And it's very sad to me that most people, as I said earlier, get on a path set by other people in a culture and never find out what it is. And it kind of gnaws at you your entire life. I tell people, don't you just know it's kind of knocking at your heart all day long? You go to bed thinking, there's got to be more. I know there's got to be more. And you kind of daydream about things every once in a while of, wow, this would be so great if I could do that. But most people never tap into why that's gnawing at them. And it's their purpose. And I have come to believe and really understand, because I've done a lot of studying on this, obviously, especially since losing my husband and my son, that some of us can get through that life and be okay with that gnawing and let it die there. Some of us, it really sends us into a lot of unhappiness, lack of joy, seeking joy in all the wrong places. And some of us kind of skew really to the dark side without having a vision and a purpose. And I have come to believe that if I can help people, if anybody can help people tap into that purpose, that it can become their own anchor in all the storms. That no matter what happens, like with me, you may go down for a while, but you don't quit. Because the purpose is what gets you through all of it and picks you up and gets you back on track.
That's very compelling. It's a concept that I am so glad you're teaching this, because what I see is the floundering. That not knowing is it's a sense of just kind of floundering around.
Yes.
And when you said it takes people to the dark side, I've seen depression.
Yes.
anger.
Yeah.
So many emotions come up with that.
Yes.
Can you touch on that a little bit? Talk
Yeah.
to me about some of those emotions that you've experienced yourself, perhaps,
Yeah.
or have seen others.
Yeah. Well, doubt and fear are the two biggies. Most people have a dream, but they won't follow it because doubt and fear will shut them down every single time. And it's a daily occurrence, and it never goes away, ever. The difference is with my own doubts and fears now, especially because I'm leaping into a very big topic on a very big platform. A lot of that is creeping up again, but because I've done this for so long and I've helped so many other people through it, I know that when the doubt and fear shows up, that I'm on the right path.
Mm.
So it's for me a changing of perspective of not seeing those things as bad things. I see them as good things. Because most people will avoid the doubt and fear, and that puts them driven into a comfort zone of staying in a job they hate, staying in a relationship that they know is not working. Again, bad habits they won't get rid of that kind of put them in denial and cover things up and band-aid it, right? So those are some other emotions I think you can see rampant in our culture right now. Emotions of, can I just do it to this level and then not go any further? My word this year, and I think you know this, Maria, is leap. One of the things I've learned from a really good book I read last year called The Big Leap is that most people might get out of comfort zone into what we call the zone of excellence, where they're operating in an area where they're doing pretty well and they're experienced at it, but very few people will go from excellence into zone of genius. It's like 2%. And that's because it's the biggest leap of all, with all the biggest fears and the doubts and things that are happening, circumstances. People allow the emotions of their daily circumstances to push them off track. People rejecting you, your own family not understanding why you're doing what you're doing, especially if you have a bigger vision than most everybody in your family, which is very common. It's a roller coaster ride. And the common denominator for me is that even with the roller coaster has been the vision has kept me on track through all of it. But some people, when they really just can't get a handle on knowing their purpose, and they've been pushed off track for too long, and then they've got other things happening, maybe physiologically. I do believe that's a piece of it for people with depression. No support. It's kind of like the perfect storm, a trifecta of things. Just can't see their way out. I'm hopeful that helping more people get their purpose, it will be the thing that propels them out of that darkness. Right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've said a couple of very profound things here.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're so right about the fear and doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I've I've been through it
All day long.
right, all day long, and it what I find is helpful for me especially when the fear comes up and some of the doubt is if we reframe it.
Yes.
So that it becomes something else and it feels like something else. So when for me, fear, I feel it as a heaviness in my chest and this thing in my midsection in my stomach.
Right.
And I know what it is. I know what it is. I know exactly what triggers it, when I am stepping outside my comfort zone. But when I reframe it, and what works for me is reframing it to excitement.
Yeah.
I still feel it. I just think about it a little differently.
Yes, correct.
Do you have any examples of how that works?
Well, yes, because even doing this podcast with you today, Maria, I woke up full of anxiety, ready to curl up and go, okay, I can't do this. This is way too big of a leap. Can't start sharing my story. Way too emotional. And I knew in an instant it was because you and I are going to be having this conversation. So what I know, because I've done this enough, is that means this podcast is going to impact some people's lives, right? Because I don't know what people's faiths are, but I am going to tell you my belief is that I do believe there are two forces on earth, one good and one very, very bad. And the one that is very, very bad doesn't bother with you when you are in your comfort zone, but messes with you big time when you start stepping into your purpose and being a legacy and a light to a lot of other people. So I've just learned not to listen to that, because then I'm giving into the force, right?
Yeah.
So I have to do a whole lot of, so some of the things I do, as a lot of people know, I spend a good hour first thing every morning of my day, suiting up, getting ready. Suiting up for me is reading devotionals, writing verses, having them in front of me all day long, journaling what I'm about to do, a lot of gratitude journaling. And I literally have to change my spirit and my whole mindset so that I can get ready and geared up for the day. And that is something very few people do in this culture. Most people get up, start doing alarms, start checking email, turn on the news, and run with their hair on fire out the door. Totally not prepared or suited up.
Yeah.
Right.
I love the way you put that, suited up. I have a very similar morning practice.
Yep.
I've been doing now for a long time, and you are so right. It prepares me for whatever comes, and that's not to say that I don't get thrown some stuff during the day.
Sure. Yeah.
But it allows me to approach it from a different place.
Totally.
So
yes.
Yeah, so I love that you prepare yourself that way too, and I think that is just a wonderful a wonderful tip for everyone who starts their day, like you say, with their hair on fire and wants to change that. So if we change little things, and little things one at a time, don't make these massive changes all at once.
Yes.
These little things one at a time, then we can build our resilience for those things, when those upside down moments when life happens. And sometimes they're big ones and sometimes they're small ones. So I love that idea. So we're going to carry that tip into our next segment, when I'm going to ask you to share what the wisdom that has come to you from this journey of yours. So we will get to hear what Carey believes it takes to live life on purpose. Stay tuned. Till next time, I'm Maria Tomás-Keegan.